was really the idea
Mm-hmm.
more than like we have to do a show. I remember it was the 2000 election, and we lived here a few years.
Yeah.
I just noticed that there was all this language and political. There was a election cycle and all this kind of racialized language being used that I hadn't heard before, and I hadn't lived in the States for 10 years or up to that election. And so it was very surprising. So that's really what got our attention.
Yeah, and for me especially, it was surprising because I'm from Finland and I don't have that background of like racism, in our country. So I found it very disturbing, and I was wondering like why is this still happening?
I think it was over those from 2000 to 2004, we just started praying about that we should do something like with our art. So we wanted to do what we do with dance and theater and music. What could we do to bring healing, to bring hope, to bring truth, something good to this conversation?
Yeah.
And then we started reading a ton of books and praying, a lot of praying. And then one day I came upon the Underground Railroad story, and I realized that was really the great response to our current situation, learning from that.
So one of the things that especially fascinated me was that it was ordinary people.
Yeah.
It was not people who were in power necessarily. It was just the regular people who just had the courage to step out and to, do basically one good thing.
It really addressed the fact that, racism and the history and the issues really isn't about black versus white or white versus black, but it's about good versus evil. That when you look back in the history, what you see are some people chose to do the right thing, to do the good thing, and other people didn't. It's the gospel, the Christian gospel message that brings the abolition movement to life, and that is what ends slavery. It really, starting with this whole thing around the world, it starts to put an end to slavery. You do not have the end of slavery without the gospel. So that was a very important reminder to bring to the work, and but also a sensitive topic too, as far as there were a lot of people in the States who were Christians who were supportive of slavery and utterly missed the mark in a horrific way, and so we couldn't make light of that or skip over that. So to do an honest portrayal was important to us too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was really, I think, what motivated us to then start working on the play. But it took 4 years.